Welcome to Time for Hope, a ministry of Hope for Living Media Church and Bible Study Time Incorporated, with your host and pastor, Dr. Frida Cruz. Join Dr. Frida and her guests as they discuss both real life and spiritual issues and offer scriptural, professional, and practical advice and application for any and all life situations.
Thank you for joining us on Time for Hope, a ministry of Hope for Living Media Church and Bible Study Time Incorporated. I'm Dr. Frida Cruz, your host and pastor, and today I am being joined by author and speaker Nancy Parker Brummett, who has focused on ministries for the aging and older population and those who care for them. Today, Nancy and I will be discussing her book titled Take My Hand Again, subtitled A Faith-Based Guide for Helping Aging Parents. This practical and positive book is designed to help children exchange their roles with their parents as they become their caregivers. Nancy's warm and tender approach is grounded in both personal experience and careful research, all with a focus on maximizing the aging process for both the parents and caregivers. For more, stay with us. And Nancy, it's great having you come all the way from Colorado Springs, Colorado, to be a guest on Time for Hope.
Oh, I am so happy to be here, and I grew up in Tennessee, so anytime I can come to the South, I'm happy. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, and you've done a really marvelous job with your book. I've gone through it from cover to cover. And one of the things that made it so interesting for me is I've been there.
Yes.
Just like you have. Of course, this book is a result of your going through it with your mother and your mother-in-law,
yes,
right?
That's right.
Going through the aging and then the final goodbyes and so on and so forth. And I had every bit of that with each of my parents. Mm-hmm. My first one was with my father, and he taught me so much. He'd always taught me so much, okay? But he taught me so much about what I can even expect, and you bring that out in your book also, because he shared everything, even though I was long distance and had to, at that time I was a pilot, so I could fly down often.
Oh, okay.
And also when I didn't fly, I could drive down and stay for a couple of weeks at the time.
Yes.
And he shared, I think, just about everything he was going through, he shared with me or asked me about it, because I was already a licensed counselor and that kind of thing, and he knew that. Another thing that was really strange, and I had two sisters there, like you've mentioned, and so forth, but if he were going to become real ill, it would happen right after I got there.
Oh my goodness.
And my sister said, he always waits for you to be here.
Oh.
And it happened every time that way. We'll probably talk more about that later on. But as I say, from your own personal experience, and I really like the research you've done, that you're not just drawing from. You've mentioned some of my favorite people in your book, as a matter of fact. And so we're going to go with that and start out with this role reversal, that I talked about on the intro, that it literally is a role reversal. The parents become the children, as it were, and the children become the parents. But I love about the idea of taking my hand, because what I think about when I think of the title of your book, and I want to know if you had this in mind, is how when we were little, when we were little growing up, that they were there to take our hand and keep us safe, as it were, by holding on to our hand. Is that what you had in mind when you named this book?
That is exactly it. I remember being a little girl, and we only got to go downtown and shop for new clothes at beginning of school and Easter. And I remember my mom taking my hand to help me across the busy street. And I remember her holding my hand the first day I started kindergarten and walking up what seemed like these giant stone steps. I bet they aren't that big if I looked at them today, but
Yeah.
And so just as you mentioned with your dad, when I would go back to Tennessee to visit her, I have two sisters who lived there permanently and took wonderful care of her, but she liked having all her chickens home under the roost, as she would say.
Yes.
And I write in the book about one time I was there and we were heading down the hall to go to dinner in her assisted living facility. And she reached out for my hand and said, I always feel better when you're here to hold my hand. And that is really how I came up with the title, was just realizing that she now needed me to hold her hand every bit as much as I needed her to hold mine when I was little.
Yes. You know, we know that the aging population is swelling.
Yes, ma'am.
And you even give stats in your book about the time will come, and it won't be far away, when there will be more older people, aging people, than there are young children and
Exactly.
young adults coming along. That's
Exactly.
amazing to think that.
They call it the senior tsunami, that this big wave of, well, all the baby boomers, you know, we've changed, it's my generation, we've changed every institution we've passed through our lifetime, and this is no different. We will probably really change the healthcare industry for seniors, the services for seniors, and there is going to be a huge need now and in the next 10 years.
I keep an eye on the obiits to see if anyone's passed that I know or
Yes.
knew at some time. And it is amazing how often the numbers are climbing close to the 100s that people are living. But yet at the same time, I had great-grandparents, two sets of great-grandparents that all four lived into their 90s.
Oh my, strong genes.
Yes, and that was from my father's side and so forth. So I don't know what the difference is. Most of them did not live that long. They did. I can remember one of my great-grandmothers wanting to see her first great-great-grandchild, and that was my child, my first baby. And they allowed us into the hospital where she was so she could see her and get to see her first great-great-grandchild,
what a gift.
which she counted as a gift and so forth. So, but anyway, there is that reversal, and they do need us to take their hands.
And of course, it can never be a complete reversal because our parents will always be our parents, and will always be their
we're
children.
taught to respect them as that
Exactly,
too.
and that's a part of the challenge. You know, the Bible tells us, honor your father and mother. And so you enter into this season wanting to honor them and honor their choices, and yet realizing that you need to take a strong role in terms of what care they need and how to keep them safe. And so it's a very interesting season.
And at the same time, letting them believe and feel that what we do have to take control of is out of our love and respect for
Absolutely.
them, and not just
Absolutely.
because, you know, we want to get it done our way.
And the very best situation is, as you explained, that your dad became almost a partner in his care, wanting to learn and helping you understand what he needed from you. And that's what we would all hope for, that our parents would be able to express their needs and their hopes, and that we would be able to help them have dignity and live out their own life choices.
Sometimes, when, as you bring out initially in your book, we're just not prepared for this to happen with our parents, that they will ever be anything but our parents. And
right.
it's for some people it's hard to accept, but it did happen gradually enough with my father that we were able to adjust, and he again helped us with that. I can remember I had to call home often, being 6 hours away if I were driving, 2 hours if I were flying, and but one time we were on the phone together, and he said, "I want you to come down soon." He said, "I have something I need to tell you." And I didn't probe, or I didn't push, or I didn't say, "Why don't you go ahead and tell me on the phone," and that sort of stuff. I knew it was something he wanted to talk to me about. And that, I think we have to be alert to these kinds of signs from them. I went down, sometime after that, and after I'd been there a little while, I said, "Dad, you said you had something you needed to talk to me about," and they're telling me it's time for a break, and we're going to go out on this. And he said, "I wanted to tell you," and he had not told any of the rest. He said, "I want to tell you that I don't want to leave you youngins." We were always called youngins.
Of course,
I don't want to leave you youngins, but I have to.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah, but I have to. He said, "And I want you to know that." And it's still so current with me, especially reading your book and remembering that he called us what we usually were.
Right.
And that's Southern way back, isn't it? Yeah, that goes way back. But it's time for a break, and we'll pick right up when we come back. Today, experts estimate that the average 65-year-old has another 18 years to live. The ranks of 85-year-olds are swelling rapidly, and centenarians are the fastest growing segment of the population. More and more people already living, and many new babies can expect to live to be at least 100. The terms successful aging or aging well are becoming familiar to many who have moved past 50 and into the second act of their lives, including a swelling number of baby boomers. Researchers are gaining great insights into the whole aging process and can already assure us that it is not unrealistic to expect to sidestep many age-related illnesses and diseases, sustain a high level of mental and physical functioning, and actively engage in life. We cannot claim total control because certain ingredients of longevity are genetically determined, but researchers have discovered that our environment and personal behavior can dramatically affect our health and lifespan. So, in effect, this does give us a limited amount of control regarding our health and how long we live. But aging well is not solely about counting the years. My mother lived to be 85, but several of those years did not include a meaningful life, but instead long days and nights of pain and discomfort. Many in our society are obsessed with prolonging life as an end in itself, without regarding the pain and misery a dying person may be experiencing. In some cases, medical science creates an undeniable dilemma for both the dying and survivors. Death is inevitable, so I suggest we shift our focus to the purpose and meaning we can find in life as we age. While we may not always be able to enjoy the quality of life we would like, as long as we are able to reason and remember, we can find purpose and meaning throughout the days we are granted in this life. A few tips include: continue learning, stretching your brain, helps keep it functional, cherish your health, enjoy the simple things in life such as beautiful sunsets, nurture endeared relationships with your time and love. Laugh frequently. Refuse to take guilt trips. Instead, travel to exciting and new places. And if you know Jesus Christ, you can bask in the hope of eternal life beyond the grave. If you do not have this hope, then seek it. Thanks for staying with us on Time for Hope. Our guest for today is Nancy Brummett, and we're talking about her book, Take My Hand Again. And Nancy, we went out with my dad saying that he didn't want to leave us, but he had to.
Right.
And this was probably maybe 6 to 8 months ahead of his final departure from us, or leaving us, as he referred to, and so forth. And I'm going to encourage my viewers to make sure that we're just covering the tip of the iceberg as to what you have in your book, the high points that we can leave with them, but encouraging all of you that are in this position or will soon find yourself in the position of being your parents' caretaker or whatever. Oh, this is one of the best books I have seen on the subject, and I would encourage you to go ahead and get a copy, because I don't know of any of the bases that Nancy left unturned in her book that I had to learn as I went along, because, as I said, there were no books that I knew of in the day that I was going through it with my dad, and even later with my mom.
Right, and that's what inspired me to write the book, is that I kept seeing other people or friends of mine who were entering this season of life and really had no idea where to begin and where to turn. And so I thought, well, if I can be that friend or that neighbor who's been through it before by writing this book, and this can be sort of their companion through this journey for them, then that's what I want to do. I want to help somebody else.
And then there was that sad day when there were no assisted living facilities.
Oh, yes.
There were no nursing homes. I remember when my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, got up in age and became, as it were, disabled and didn't have his right mind. He just became a different person, and so we knew something was wrong. But the only place available was the state hospital. Mm-hmm. And you didn't get near the attention there. It was the last step, yes. Before that final going away, as it were. And so we're so fortunate to have so many choices today, yes, about where our parents are going to live, and you bring that out in your book. Where are our parents going to live? And we had to start out with my mom in an assisted living, and then move her on to a nursing home when they couldn't handle her at assisted living anymore. But it used to be people thought nursing homes were horrible places and that they abused them and all that kind of thing, and it wasn't true with my mom. Wasn't true. She was treated well and had good care, but then again, I had 2 sisters there to make sure that that went on. I'll let you pick up with that thought.
Well, that does make a difference. I think if you can have an advocate within a facility, if your parent is in an assisted living, or they call nursing homes skilled nursing facilities now. And when I was taking a course in gerontology, everyone kept calling them SNFs, and I finally had to say, okay, I give up. What is a SNF? It's a skilled nursing facility. And they are better than some of the older nursing homes that we remember as children. But you have to be vigilant, and I always just prayed with my mom and my mother-in-law that the people who go in and out of the rooms, the aides that really do the caregiving, would be compassionate people who really care, and that makes all the difference. Mm-hmm. It when you are looking for a place, you're taking on tours, you're giving a glossy brochure, and talk to the marketing director and hear all the wonderful programs. And But it really comes down to the people who come in and out of those rooms. Do they have a good heart? Do they care?
Yes, and you actually bring that out in your book, where is my parent going to live?
Right.
And I just saw something recently in art where most of them, if they have their choice, will choose to stay in their home.
Yes.
And I remember that was a sad time. My dad did get to die. Well, he died in a hospital, but he got to stay home until almost the very end. But my mom then, of course, didn't get to do that. She had to start out, as I've already said, in assisted living and move into a nursing home where she died. But you bring that out in your book.
Yes.
There comes a point where you have to help them make a decision as to, whether you're going to go with their wishes or whether you're going to have to go against their desires as to where they're going to live and see their last days.
Well, and all that uncertainty, I mean, what better time to hold hands again and to pray together and really to seek the Lord's wisdom. There's a verse that I use at the beginning of one of the chapters that's from
I loved your
2
verses
Chronicles.
at the beginning of the chapters, by the
good.
way. I did.
But this one says, "We do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you." And that's, I think, where so many adult children find themselves, whether they're talking to their siblings or what should we do about mom, how can we help dad. It's a very confusing, difficult time, and just holding hands and keeping your eyes on the Lord is the best way to proceed day by day.
And it's no time, and you, again, in your book, you bring it out, it's no time for siblings to have a rivalry going on as to who's going to run the show.
Right.
Or what's going to be done with mom or dad. It's time for them to come together and listen, if they can, to mom or dad, and also to try to cooperate with each other. Now, my two sisters, and I had a brother also that was close by, but the sisters were the ones that it really fell to look after my mom when I wasn't there, and they kept me posted at all times. But they were very cooperative with the whole process, the two of them. By the way, they're still there. And then they would let me come in and be a part of the choices and the decisions and so forth, which I greatly appreciated from them and with them.
Yes. My mom would often say, now, just don't worry, Nancy, about this. She's way out there in Colorado. There's not a thing she can do about it anyway, which was sweet and protective of me, but I wanted to be included, like you said. So finally I was able to make her realize that I wanted to be a part of it, even though I was far away. And I did write a chapter about holding hands across the miles.
Across the miles,
It's a different challenge. You have to decide when to go and how long to stay and when to go back home, and of course,
it's a chapter of your life. It amounts to a chapter of your life, doesn't it?
And people I talked to, I interviewed 25 different caregivers when I was writing the book, and most of them said it helped the most once they just accepted that they couldn't just add helping their parent to everything else they were doing in life, that they were going to have to change their life just for a while, just for a season, in order to accept this call and fill this role.
Well, so much of life moves in seasons.
Yes.
And if we can look at it that way, it helps us through a lot of dark seasons, as it were, because they don't last forever, so to speak. They are telling me we're coming to the end. We are going to be continuing our discussion next week on related to your book on Take My Hand Again. And again, subtitled A Faith-Based Guide, of course, is one of the reasons I chose it, a faith-based guide for helping aging parents. And you also bring out that it's a journey. It's a journey no matter how much we know, how much we've learned, how much is written, and that sort of stuff. It's still a journey because everybody's different.
Yes.
Parents are different, and siblings are different, and we're different. So you just stay put, and we'll pick it up again. And I do have something to share, a prayer request from one of our viewers with you, like always. This one reads, Dear Dr. Frida, please pray for me. I am in an assisted living facility and will be 70 soon. I want to be able to get back home to my house and get it ready to rent because I need the money. I do not have the strength to do it on my own and have no one else to help me. I invite you to send in your prayer request if you have one, and we will take it to our Heavenly Father. And then I have an encouraging note. Dear Dr. Frida, thank you for your ministry, which gives many of us who suffer in some way hope and a future with God. I love Time for Hope so much. May God bless you as you continue serving Him. And I appreciate that, and I would appreciate your prayers. And I've already invited you to make sure that you send in your prayer request. I also make a special request at this time, and that is we could use your financial help. If you have not chosen to be a regular contributor or haven't contributed at all to the ministry of Time for Hope and Hope for Living Media Church, I'm asking you to take it up with the Lord in prayer and consider becoming a donor, a financial donor to this Time for Hope ministry. And then the next thing I'm asking of you is to stay with us. We're going to conclude this study on this subject with Nancy next week. So I really want you to make sure you join us again next week on Time for Hope.
A free fact sheet that contains additional information about today's topic is available upon request from our ministry. You can also receive a copy of today's resource for a donation of at least $17 to the Time for Hope ministry. Any additional donation you wish to send will be greatly appreciated. Call us at 800-669-9133. Write us at Post Office Box 2169, Spartanburg, South Carolina 29304. Or visit our website at timeforhope.org. As we continue to give out messages of hope, a financial gift of any amount to support this ministry will be greatly appreciated. When you send us a gift, you are joining us in offering hope to many viewers seeking help and hope for their situations, and enabling us to inform and inspire viewers to expand our mission as they learn and in turn can minister more effectively to hurting people around them. Look for Dr. Frida's Scriptural Devotions on our Time for Hope TV Ministry Facebook page. Thank you for watching Time for Hope, a ministry of Hope for Living Media Church and Bible Study Time Incorporated. Until next time, have a great week, and remember, it is time for hope.